Hey everybody, another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Legions Imperialis, the Rise of the Dark Mechanicum. This is the exciting new development for Legions Imperialis, which is a brand new pair of army lists for both loyalists and traitors to play the Martians, as in this case the Martian Mechanicum, which is sort of like the machine cult based on Mars that is in allegiance with the Imperium at the start of the Horus Heresy, breaks with them as the Fabricator General goes evil. There's a huge civil war, and of course this allows us to play two new factions effectively inside the game. It also unlocks something that people have been, I don't know, kind of begging for. It was sort of slow rolled in with Titan Death, but this is going to allow you to basically use Titans kind of at will without having to have a budget, as this of course is the Force who makes them. So a key feature, just to kind of spoil right off the bat, of this army list is every single one of their detachments can take a Titan as one of its additional formations. That means if you've got your Warhounds that came in the two-player starter set for Legions Imperialis, you've already got a great start on this force, as they will make up a huge chunk of it. So Games Workshop was kind enough to send along a few things for me to review today, some complimentary stuff, meaning I'll actually get to play a game with this army coming up pretty soon, because they first of all sent the Mechanicum Battle Group. Now this is a change to their releases previously, because you've got a sort of like individual box set release for the Legions themselves, the Space Marines, where you got like the Space Marine Demi Company, or the Battle Company, and then you got like their transports as a separate box. You got their support stuff kind of mixed in, but not really enough to take as its own detachments. You need to buy multiple boxes. They've kind of done away with this, and this is a really fantastic box because it's a 1,250 point army. I did the math, as you can see here, with my all of GMG is run off yellow legal pads. For the most part, I should have bought stock in yellow legal pads. But this is exactly 1,250 points, which means that if you add in, and that's including everything. So I think the only fudge I had to do was one of my Tech Priest Auxilia stands is an Archmagos, because you can take the Archmagos either on foot as one of these stands, or as an abeyant. And to make the number of formations I wanted to make, which was 3 with Titan support, I needed an additional HQ choice. So I used one of these as the support Tech Priest Auxilia, then another one as an Archmagos on foot to go with my Bastion detachment. And my Legion Cybernetica cohort is basically 3 big formations, each one with a Titan leading it, which is a Reaver and a Warhound. And I've got 2,000 points. So real easy box to make 2,000 points out of. You get your Ad Secularis Tech Thrall Covenant. They start relatively small, but this is like a max size company. Thalax cohort, this is the, so basically there's 2 types of big formation. We'll get to that when we look at the book, but there's like a robot one and like a Tech Thrall one. The Tech Thrall one is mostly made up of this stuff. So you get like your Auxilias, your Myrmidons, your Destructors, and then the other half of it's going to be all the Cybernetica stuff, so like the Thalax, the Castellax, the Ursarax, the Vorax, and the Artilax. And then your Voltarax Stratos Automata Squadron, which are like your floating robots, and your Thanatar Siege Automatic Manifold, they're like a Bastion detachment. Your Triroses can be used to carry these guys around, so you have your big, like your transports are actually in the box too. And you get some relatively large fighty stuff like the Arlataxes and the Thanatars that are big multi-wound fighters, the Domitars too, which are big multi-wound fighters. So tons of room to make this, but just kind of like to give you the short story long, if you're thinking about starting this army, this box is the army in the box, because most people who play this game at this point already have some Titans. This is more than enough support and infantry stuff to get a game in of this. And if you want to add a Warlord in, you could easily go to 3,000 points, because the Warlord I think is what, like 800 and change. So I got to 1995 using smaller Titans, right? A Warlord, Reaver, and a Warhound. But if you just took Warlords, you've easily got 3,000 points. Like this feels very much like a release where you're playing Titanicus all of a sudden, and each of the Titans has their own little like support staff of minions that are following them around throughout the game, which is really cool. So I wanted to get this over because I wanted to be able to look at the book and kind of get this off screen. The Mechanicum army cards, I didn't actually open these, but I assumed they were, you guys can watch me open this on camera. I assumed this was going to be basically the same as the army cards that get in the box set. It does include everything that comes in the Battle Group box, everything that comes in this book, as I did read through the back. So you get your data sheets in here, and these are handy for in-game. It's also a very Epic thing. If you played older editions of Epic, you probably remember there being absolutely tons of of cardboard plunder that came with those older editions. So yeah, so you've got all of your different cohort attachments and style stuff in here, and then your individual units options and their stat cards. So for instance, the Prime, this is the infantryman I was talking about, then the one in the Abeyant. Your Tech Thrall Covenant, and you can see here the detachment size is 4, and your upgrades allow you to take up to 6 more, so you've got all 10 for a max size company in here, or you could take multiple detachments too and break them smaller. Again, that's what I'm saying is if you wanted to explode this box set into a larger army, it's really easy to do because you could take 6 and a 4 of the Tech Thrall Covenant, and every time you take one of these at min, you get another Titan, right? So you just have a bunch of guys swarming around the feet of the Titans and then take a bunch of Titans instead. This is going to be an easy one to build up, I guess is what I'm saying. Your Thalix cohort, the detachment size is 2, and you get 8 in here. So you've easily got the, this is why you can have 2 of 4, and you can have a single company made out of just Thalix, and then a single company made out of the Tech Thralls too, because their base size is relatively small. Myrmidons, Castellaxes, Domitars, Artilaxes, and we'll look at these in a minute when we look at the actual stats for stuff, but we'll do that in the book. So yeah, so worth having if you're just looking at quickly building an army list. These I don't necessarily see the need for. It's more this size where you get this side where you get the special rules for them that are a little bit handier. I wouldn't use these in my list creation, but I'd use them to be able to reference what they do as far as their sub rule. Whenever you take that formation, what do you get access to? But sometimes you don't even need them because it's you can have transports and they count as the point values going towards this formation. It's simple stuff you don't need to remember. But there we go. We've gone through these. I've shown you my beautiful Storm Titan because I have a giant Stormer. So I want to paint these as loyalists because I already have my Sons of Horus as my other army for this game. You guys don't need to see my pocket knife. I can go away. And so here we go. Let's dive into the book itself. And what do we got? Well, once again, usual Forge World loveliness. It's a full color. I think it's roughly 128 pages. Yep. And uses a mix of, if you haven't seen one of these before, if this is your first time seeing a review for one of these, it uses a mix of 28 mil scale and epic scale stuff in here. So when you look at for instance, these guys, the Triaroses, I hate saying made up words. Everybody says it differently. The Triaroses, that's the 28 mil one painted up, right? That's not the 10 mil one painted up. And it's going to talk and give you a complete history of the Martian Civil War itself, the rise of Mars, the Civil War amongst the Dark Mechanicum and the Mechanicum, what happens on that planet. It's a pretty cool, if you haven't read Mechanicum by Graham McNeil, I'd highly recommend it. It's probably the best inside look at the history that's in here. It's a good compliment for this as well. Because it goes through just how different Mars was, even from the Adeptus Mechanicus you might know from Warhammer 40,000. One of the prime figures, she's an Archmagus, and her thing is that she's all into Wi-Fi. So she runs what's called the Noosphere, which is the sort of the in the air data cloud, the cloud that's running around Mars, and she's trying to innovate and make it so that data is stored in this sort of non-binned way where it's all out there, and she's basically super into cloud technology. And of course that all goes wrong because it gets infected by the scrap code and demons get in her information cloud. It's a really interesting story, but she's one of the protagonists in the book, and you get kind of a cool inside track on that whole thing. You're going to get some nice background on all the individual units. So for instance, the Trios Armor Conveyor, which is your transport, the Cryos Battle Tank, which is a variant. You can see they're kind of on the same chassis. And then discussing the Dark Mechanicum. So there's no rules in here for Demon Titans. So if you were hoping for Siege of Terra era stuff, this is the Dark Mechanicum as they split. So we're not quite to the Siege of Terra in the Solar War where Mortis Titans are being destroyed and then coming back as undead Titans. The stuff between the Mechanicum and the Dark Mechanicum gets really cool because the Loyalist Titan Legions are having to deal with the fact that the Traitor Titans don't stay dead, and it's a real zombie apocalypse for them where they just stagger back to life or they're possessed by demons, and it gets real wrong, real bad. And yeah, and this book doesn't cover that. This is more the Martian Civil War where you got that stuff starting. Again, beautiful shots of, I think these are the, yeah, these might not be 28 mil. No, that's definitely the epic scale one, but beautiful shots of the Titans themselves, all with the, the nice effect stuff in Photoshop put onto it. We're gonna get some campaign rules. So just like the Talarn book where we had mass tank battles, in this one, we're going to get another campaign format with requisition points, where we have a large scale army that we recruit, draft stuff into, and we play games out of that larger pool of miniatures. And And it's cool because it goes through cycles. This stuff's very, if you know the campaign cycle rules and stuff in here, this is very much borrowed from Necromunda. You can see the cross-pollination between those two writing teams where it's like, no, we have some similar ideas. We're going to use the same stuff going back and forth. But the cycle basically goes for a number of weeks, and then at the end of the cycle, you will have like your sort of triumphs and stuff that you play through. And yeah, they're pretty standard in this case. Like you've got some new scenarios for a depot raid, for destroying a depot, a city assault where you have like a wall and then a river crossing, but they're just neat kind of generic campaign rules. And then you get the historical stuff like the fall of Magma City, and this is to fight through like the Martian Civil War. Formations of Legends. Okay, so these were in the last book as well, and these are basically so in this one you've got the, I think this is Mortis. Yeah, this is Legio Mortis. And then you got some Questora stuff as well, which are like it's sort of like your Dramatis Personae. So, for instance, this formation of legend, we have the Demi-Maniple Eterna, and it's basically the Legio Tempestis effort to wed its strength with the Knights of the Tyrannus in defense of Magma City. So this is like your historical force that would be fighting in the defense of Magma City scenario. And you got a standard detachment. It's a Reaver Battle Titan, a Questoris Knight Banner, and a Cryos Venator squadron of 6 Cryos Venators, and an expanded detachment. This is a 2,000 point overall detachment of a Warhound Hunting Pack, 2 Cerastus Knight Lancers, and a Voltarax Stratos Automata squadron. So it's 2 of these fly guys from this box set over here, like the floating bees. These guys, 2 units of them, or 4 total. It'd be 2 boxes worth of them. And then Cryos Venators, which aren't in this box. So like, it's mostly Titans. Its Defenders of Magma City's formation can only be included in an army of Loyalist allegiance, and Children of the Storm, once per game, when a Titan from this formation finishes its activation during the combat phase, it can immediately fire one of its weapons again. So once per game, you get an extra shot with your Volcano Cannon, which could be pretty game-changing. We have the Exomnus Tertia Cybernetica cohort, and this is in response to the alarming intelligence of the Stalker constructs they faced amongst the outskirts of Magma City. The Archmagos Dominus of the Exomnus Tertia Cybernetica cohort arrayed the cohort's automata maniples in a sequence of phalanxes. It's under an attack priest. So you have an Archmagos Prime on a Bant, 3 Domitars, 6 Castellax, 6 Castellax, and 4 Vorax. So this one I think you can, because you get the Abant. No, you don't have enough Domitars. You need 1 extra Domitar. You need 2 boxes to make all of these, I think. And the Castellax, you need 12 Castellax. This box comes with 4, so you need 3 boxes to make this. Actually, you need even more, because there's even more Castellax over here. I'm going to need like 5 boxes of this to make this one. Never mind. But it's optional, so you can play with the core detachment with 2 boxes. And the Vorax, you'd have enough, because you'd have 4. Yeah, 2 boxes will make the compulsory. The optional attachment is a hell of a lot more stuff, because it's like 12 more Castellax, 3 more Domitars. Yeah, you'd need 4 boxes to make this, at least. Then you'd have extras left over, and then you'd have the Thanatars that are Bastion formation. They are also Defenders of Magma City, so they have to be Loyalists and adaptive protocols. When an attachment this formation has the Cybernetica Cortex special rule, it's activated. Its order can be replaced with a new order. The new order must be the same order as one issued to a friendly detachment from this formation that has the Cybernetic Cortex special rule and is within 6 inches of the activated detachment. So the Cortex rule is everyone has a default order they have to be issued unless they're next to somebody with Cortex, in which case they mimic the Cortex guy. So basically all of your Tech Adepts have to be nearby something that has a Cortex, and they'll all mimic his order, but otherwise they go to like their default order because they're not AIs, they're stupid AIs. But this one has adapted protocols. And the new order can be an order other than that shown by the activated Cortex. So in this case, as long as they're within range of the thing, as long as they're in range of a Cortex controller, they can have a different order from him. It doesn't just mimic. They can have like an order as normal. And Sibyllin's Tagma, the core compulsory attachment's 944 points. It's force. This is stuff that's almost not even in here because there's no Scintillax in this box, I don't think. No, there's no Scintillax at all. So it's 4 Scintillax with Storm Lasers as your HQ, and then 8 Tech Thralls, 6 Serperos, these are heavy tanks, and then a Myrmidon Secutor host. You do get the Myrmidons in here. Yeah, Destructors and Secutors are both in this box. But you only get 2 Secutors, so you need 3 of these boxes to make this basic one. And then the expanded attachments, 8 more Tech Thralls, 6 more Myrmidon Secutors, oh my god, in Triaros. 6 more Myrmidon Secutors in Triaros. This is so many boxes. This is 12. That's 6 boxes by itself. So you're talking about 9 boxes to get these models so far. Oh my god. Yeah. And then there's Servants of Kelbor Hall. So these are the bad guys. The traitors, because Kelbor Hall is the Fabricator General, I believe, that goes rogue. I think that's his name. And then Protocol Scourge. When a detachment from this formation with networked anima special rules within 8 of a model with the newest sphere controller special rule from this formation, all models of the detachment increase their weapon ranges by 4 inches. So that basically gives you like the cool, obviously they can be used by anybody, but these are the Magma City cohorts that you then go and play. They're pretty freaking crazy though, as far as the number of boxes you need to buy at launch to actually play them. So I would pump the brakes and wait. Unless you're really hell-bent on doing the defense of Magma City, this feels like something to do for White Dwarf because they have unlimited access to models. And then your Collegia Titanica Army list. Cool. So the Collegia Titanica Army list includes detachments listed below. They're taken from the Strategic Assets list in the Legions Imperialis. So Direwolves, Warhounds, Reavers, Warbringers, Warlords, Warmasters, Questoris Night Banners, Cerastus Night Banners, and Acastus Night Banners. And then the detachment rules for this, you get Heavy Scout Titan, Hunting Pack, Nemesis Titan, Battle Titan, and Warmaster and Iconoclast Battle Titan. So these are the icons that your formations have to be filled by. And this is great, so you can just straight up play Titans if you want now, which I think is fantastic. But there is a designer's note. The Collegia Titanica Army list presented over the following pages is intended to be a thematic alternative to the primary army list. In match play missions, they suffer from a lack of objective control with a tactical strength of 0. Titans cannot capture or contest objectives, which makes achieving a conventional victory really difficult. Allied contingents mitigate this disadvantage to a degree, and an army of Titans and Knights is a destructive force, but the enemy will have a much easier time seizing and holding objectives, making victory points easier to come by for them. So the balance here is, yes, you can play a Titan Legion now in Legions Imperialis. No, they're not going to be super competitive because they're all kill or no filler. So you're stuck with just your support detachments being able to hold objectives for the most part, and that's going to make it hard for you to earn victory points outside of like the core killing objectives. So yeah, I like that because it's a way of saying yes, you can use this, but you're playing on an increased difficulty scale to offset the fact that you're playing with some of the most dangerous models in the game. And then they do the classic Legions Imperialis stuff. So I'd really like to play this army against itself. I'm very excited to try this out as just a way of playing Legions Imperialis with just Titans, as a way of playing Titanicus basically with all the cardboard. So Axiom, which is of course a Warlord, a Reaver, and a Warhound. Then you've got your Lupercal Light Maniple, which can be Warhounds to add on to it. Direwolves and Knights, and the Axiom can take a Reaver and 2 Night Banners. The Purgiatus, which is a Warmaster, and the optionals are a Warmaster, a Warlord, and 2 Warbringers. The Ruptura Battleline Maniple, which is Warbringer, and the optional attachments is Reaver, and a Knight. And I love this attachment because this is like, that's a big amount of guns. That's like 2,000 ones just in your compulsories. And then finally the Ferox Light Maniple. Compulsory attachments are Reaver and a Warhound, and the optionals are Reaver, Direwolves, and Knights, and the compulsories for the Corsair is Reaver, and then all Reavers and a Knight Banner. So very cool. I'm super excited. Again, there's no special rules for these. You get no bonuses for taking any of this stuff because you're Titans, so you're good enough. This is just purely thematic. And then Questoris Familia, which is playing all Knights, same sort of general thing. The Knights Household Arm is presented over the following pages as a thematic army list. Again, they lack from objective control, with low tactical strength, which means they can't capture or contest objectives. Allied contingents and less specific special rules benefiting armigers mitigate this disadvantage to a little bit of a degree. So you've got a Barony Guard Lance with like 2 Questoris banners and a Cerastus banner, and then optionals are 2 Armigers, a Questoris, and a Cerastus. Vanguard, which is Cerastus, and Armiger. Cerastus, and 2 Armigers are your bonuses. They have Household Spear, you get 4 deployment. The Barony one is a Seneschal, so after the formation is deployed, or after all the deployment is finished, if the formation is deployed in reserve, choose one model to be, as part of a compulsory attachment, to be upgraded to Baron for free. Your CAF gets +2 and your wounds go up by 1. So one of these guys becomes the Baron and becomes like a cooler model. The Bastion Lance, which is a Castus Questoris, and the optional attachments are Questoris and 2 Armigers. No bonuses for this one. And then the Bonded Household Lance, which is 2 Questorises, and they can take a Questoris, a Castus, Cerastus, and 2 Armigers. They're favored by the Omnissiah. All Questoris Knights in this formation must have the Knight Styrax or Knight Magera weapon loadout. All Armiger slots must be filled with Mechanicum Moirax Talons, because they're the bonded ones that have the cool like Armigers and Knights given to them by the Mechanicum. And then now we're into the meat and potatoes. So we've gotten through all the Titan stuff. I'm really glad it's there. I do think that it's going to be something that people have been waiting for, and just unlocks people's existing collections. If you haven't tried it, if you've played Titanicus and you wanted to play Imperialis and you felt like you were kind of out in the cold, just go pick up this book. You're instantly playing Titanicus. You can buy a box of anything and have some allies, like allied air cover and allied detachments that will instantly make your army sort of like out of the box ready to go. I'm going to try this army list very soon. And then now we get the Mechanicum Taghmata. So this one you got to pick. This is kind of like playing the Space Marine Legions for the Mechanicum, right? Because you're able to pick from between the Loyalists and Traitors. And then you have Cybernetica Cortexes, which is the Cybernetica Cortex X special rule, can only be issued an order shown in brackets unless otherwise instructed. If a detachment is not eligible to be issued this order listed, for example, it's within transport and can't be issued anything other than the advance order, then this rule is temporarily ignored. And then Cortex Controller, if a detachment with the Cybernetica Cortex, so these guys, are wholly within 8 of a friendly model with this special rule, the former detachment can be issued with any order it would be eligible to be issued instead of those listed in brackets. So it's a little bit like the commander rule from the Solar Auxilia, except for robots. All right, so the Mechanicum Taghmata special rules. To represent this allied sort of like family between the Titan Legions and the Mechanicum, you can fill roles in these slots with Knights and Titans. It does not come out of your support assets, even though they're pulled from the support assets section of the army list. Yeah, they're just included in this base formation. So once again, if you're looking for the balance between the Knights Banner list and the Legia Titanica list, or the Collegia Titanica list, this is it. This is where you get the Mechanicum stuff blended with the Knights or the Titans together. And this is your probably best way to play your Titan Legion. If you're just diving in from Deus Titanicus though, then start with the Collegia Titanica list. This right here though is going to be the way that you probably want to play it, because it's going to give you access to everything from tanks to heavy tanks to flyers to all that cool stuff, and still be able to take your Titans without having to have them just be support assets. Automata detachments, so Archmagus Prime on a Bant, and Tex Auxilia models may be attached to any infantry, walker, cavalry, or vehicle detachment within the same formation that has the Cybernetica Cortex special rule. And this overrides normal restrictions for joining detachments of different types. So even though you might be on foot, you could join like a cavalry unit because you're designed to like push those guys around. And then Tech Priest Auxilia, if a support slot is filled with Tech Priest Auxilia detachments, up to 2 additional Tech Priest Auxilia may be included in the same slot. These attachments kind of separate attachments, but don't take additional slots. So it means that you can buy controllers for all your robots if you want to, as long as you're filling 1 support slot with them, up to 3. All right, let's look at our different attachments. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different attachment types. So first, the Autocratori Regiment. This is your main battle tank one. So 3 main battle tanks. Expanded attachment is going to be an HQ. So again, these battle tanks can have a Cortex controller for 10 extra points, a little bit like the Auxilia. So you can buy one to push around robots. And then you can have Tech Priest Auxilia, transport, support, and an HQ, and a battle tank as expanded attachments. And then one of the following, a Titan or 2 Knights. So one of those 2 things can be added as well. The Cybernetica cohort is an HQ, a core, and 2 supports. So this is the one that you can easily make out of this box, because honestly, most of this is support. You could make 4 of these out of this box. It's min 4 for these guys, right? So like actually you can make 8 of just Thalax, because it's 2 Thalax base. So if you wanted 4 Thalax, like you can make a ton of these, which is why I'm saying it's so easy to play Titans out of this list, because you could fill these. The only thing really limiting you is HQs. And you just use the Auxilia as the big Archmaguses instead on foot, and you're fine. So you could easily make 4 of these out of the box. And then, yeah, you get transports, core, vanguard, 2 extra HQs, and a support. And then one of the following, either 2 supports or 2 vanguards. Vanguards are going to be things like the Arlatax, the Vorax, all the kind of close combi quicker, and also the, what are they called, the Ursarax. And then Titan as well. No Knights attached to this one, no. They are Legio Cybernetica, though. All slots in this formation, apart from core, transport, and Titan slots, must be filled with detachments that have either Cortex Controller or Cybernetica. So this is the All Robots one. Then your Taghmata Subcovenant. This is your Tech Thrall one. So again, this one's an HQ, 2 Tech Thrall Covenant slots. You do have to split that Covenant in half to make it this way. And then 2 supports. Expanded attachments are going to be HQs, cores, supports, bastions, Vanguard, Battle Tank, and Transport. So you could split off like your Thanatar to put in here as well. And then one of the following, it's either a Titan or 2 Knight Banners. And then dedicated transports, you buy them for your infantry or walker models with Triax armor conveyors, and they become dedicated, so they don't count as a separate detachment. Your Ordo Reductor subdivisions, an HQ support and 2 bastions. So this is the one you can make right out of here, because you can take, there's 8 Thanatars in here. There's so many Thanatars in here. And they're basically knights, they're enormous. So because you get 8 Thanatars in here, you can easily make the 2 bastions and then a support and HQ. The Order Reductor subdivision is pretty easy to do. You get an HQ as additional support, 2 other supports, a bastion and a battle tank, and then one of the following, a knight or a Castus knight. So you can put the big tubby knights in here as well. And let's talk about our actual attachments now. So there's quite a bit of stuff in here. Now, not everything in this box, or sorry, there are things in this book that aren't in this box, like for instance, the battle tanks and stuff. So there will be some things that you're like, do I get these right away? They're probably coming as additional releases later on. So the Archmagus Prime, he's a Battlesmith, Commander, Cortex Controller, and Invulnerable Save 5+. Got some Centaurs with Deflagrate. Everybody's basically got like Volkite stuff in here. They're pretty tough. Move 5, 4+ save, +3 calf, morale 2+, and a single wound. And then the one on Abeyant has 2 wounds, right? So, and a better calf and a better movement. He's got a Melt-A-Gun as well, so a nice little anti-tank shock. Other than that, he's basically the same. So 20 extra points to take the Abeyant, why not? I think he becomes no, he's still infantry, not even cavalry. He's still just a walk around. And then this is your Tectoral Covenants. These are your basic guys. 30 points get you at 4 stands of them. They move 5, 6+. These are garbage. They're worse auxilia, basically. Calf -1, so they actually have a negative calf. They're easy to beat up. They just stand there and take punches, and 1 wound. 6-inch range Landslock, so they 6 to hit and light. They are super garbage, but you can take 1,000,000 of them. You can take up to 10 stands for 60 points. And then your Thalix cohort, these are your better ones. Two detachments or two stands are going to be 25 points. 5+ save, +1 calf, morale 3, +1 wound, movement 7. They're like faster Marines. Lightning guns are 8-inch range with 2 dice, 5 to hit, -1 AP, and light AT. And then the plasma fusel is 10-inch range, 1 dice, 4+, -1 light AT. And you can have to 8 in a detachment. And they have jump packs. So yeah, obviously this is the Mechanicum. The robots are better than the humans. The flesh is weak and the metal is strong. Your auxilia, again, I don't think you would buy these as attachments to those squads. In this box, you're probably going to want to make more detachments, so you just use them as your Archmagus Primes on foot. But if you have leftovers from buying multiple boxes, then you'd buy them as add-ons. They have attached deployment. You might notice the Prime and the Abeyant don't. So these ones have to attach. Battlesmith, Cortex Control, and Invulnerable Save. And they have a 5+ save, +2 calf, and morale 3+. It's only 15 points. But you get 3 of them as a slot, potentially. And then your Myrmidon Secutors, which are 30 points for 2 stands. These guys have a 4+ save, calf +6, because they are insane in melee. 3+ morale and 1 wound. They have Maxima Bolters, 2 shots on 5s, assault and light. So they have exploding 6s, and they're light, so they don't hurt vehicles. And then they can have up to 90 points. They can have 8 stands, and they're implacable. The Destructors have Conversion Beamers, which are crazy. 4 to 22, 1 dice, 4+ AP -2. I love Conversion Beamers still being in the game because it's Horus Heresy. You get 2 stands for 30 points, 4+ save. Everything's relatively tough in here, even compared to Marines that only have a 5+ save right for the tacticals. And then morale 3+ and 1 wound, +3 calf. Also implacable, because these are all the guys on tread legs. There was a movie in the 80s, I can't remember the name of right now, that had, it's the basis for all these things, and it's incredible. Mandroid or something like that. And then your Artilax, other support attachment, you get 1 stand for 40 points. The Artilax are the big jumpy scissor hand robots. So these guys right here, they look like the big sisters from BioShock 2. They 7-inch move, 4+ save, +6 calf again, and 2 wounds. They're like little baby knights. Autocannons and plasma cannons. So the autocannons are light AT, 2 shots on 5s, -1 AP, and plasma cannons, 12-inch range, 4+, -1 light AT. And you can have up to 4 additional ones for 110 points. Armored Cortex Advance and Charge, so they can still fight like crazy. Invulnerable Save 6+ and jump packs. Yeah, I really like them, even though they're 40 points per stand. And then the Domitars, which are like the sort of foot fightier ones, slightly smaller. They're not jumpy. They're armored, Cybernetica, Cortex, Advance and March, and Invulnerable Save 6+. 5-inch, even though they're walkers, so they're movement 5. I think armor counts, they count as tanks for AT weapons, right? Movement 5, 4 plus save, plus 4 cap and 2 wounds. They have missile launchers and graviton hammers, which have Wrecker 1 and minus 2 AP. And then their missile launchers are 20-inch range, which is nice. They're the same as the Marine ones. You can have up to 5 of them for 140 points. And these are just support. This is just the stuff that fills up your mandatory 2 support slots. So like I said, there's a lot of support in this box, right? Because each Arl attacks is like, and Domitar is just a single one for a support slot. I believe you can't take them though as, yeah, they can't be taken outside of that. So they're only gonna be support slots. The Castellaxes, which are the ones that are, you're gonna get 4 of these in the box set. So detachment 2, you can take 2 stands of these. Again, 2 wounds each, 4 plus save, plus 4 cap, 5-inch move, Mauler bolt cannons and inbuilt bolters. So they got some light AT, 8-inch range guns, 4 shots per model, and 3 they're going to be minus 1 AP. They've got armored cybernetic cortex, advance and march, and invulnerable save 6+. And then your Ursarax cohort, 20 points each. These guys are not nearly as tough to like the smaller ones, but they have jump packs. So move 7 inches, 5 plus save, plus 3 cap, morale 3+, 1 wound. They're kind of like assault marines. Volkite Incinerators that have Deflagrate and Light, 6-inch range, 2 dice, 5s to hit. And then they're 50 points, it's 70 points to take 8 stands of them. Man, they would be psycho dug into a building with cap plus 3. Still no Ogres though. All right, we're on to support. Sorry, that was the first of the Vanguards there. We're on to Vanguards. The Vorax, so these are your, yeah, 2 stands these in the box set, so you're like the old bug ones. I love that this is all Rogue Trader robots still, design-wise. I have all those robots to paint up at some point. Vorax Battle Automata, so these guys are rotor cannons, lightning guns, and power blades. They have rend on their power blades, which means extra dice. Lightning guns, 8-inch range, 2 shots, 5s, minus 1, and then the rotor cannons are 12-inch range, 3 dice, 5s, minus 1, light and rapid fire. Is rapid fire the one where you get the 6s explode? No, I thought that was assault. I'm confused. Those are interchangeable in my head. And then they're up to 3 stands additional, so up to 4 stands total is going to get you 145 points. But they have Cortex, Charge and March, forward deployment, and vulnerable save. So forward deployment making them really easy to get up into buildings early on. The Voltarax Stratos Automata Squad, these are your little flyers, little bee flyers. They're armored, cybernetic cortex. Remember, these guys aren't armored either. Advance and march, invulnerable save 6+, outflank and skimmer. 9-inch move, 4+ save, cap +2 and 2 wounds. Arc blasters and a havoc launcher. So they have neutron flux on the arc blasters. Oh my god. 2 dice, 4s to hit. And then you can have, they're a single one for 35 points. You get 2 in this box set. So you could take either 2 Vanguard attachments or for 70 points, you can get 2 of them in a single one. And now we're on to the Thanatars. You get 8 in this box. It is insane how many Thanatars you get. 4-inch move, 4+ save, cap +4 and 2 wounds each. Attachment 2 for 110 points. So you get, think about that. So you get 440 points. Like literally a third of your army is Thanatars out of this box, which is crazy. Yeah, because you can max it at 6 for the detachment. So 2 detachments of 4. Oh, sorry, it's 420 points because it's only 100 points to take 2 more. They have plasma mortars, 18-inch range, 1 dice, 3+, -3 demolish or ignore cover, because they can blow up buildings. And then Solex heavy lasses, graviton lambs, and Mauler bolt cannons are their options, and that's for an extra 5 points instead. But they come based with the plasma mortar and the Mauler bolt cannon. So you can have the heavy las, which is 22-inch range, 1, 4+, -1 an armor bane, or the graviton ram, which is record 2+, which is the melee version. And why not just equip your guys with both sides? And they're armored, Cortex Advance and First Fire, and Vulnerable Save 5+. So even like the Cortex roll's not that bad. Like Advance and First Fire orders you're gonna give these guys anyway. And yeah, they're horrifying. Then in your battle tanks, you're gonna get the Karachnos Assault Tank. This is not in this box set. It's 8-inch move, 3+ save, 0 calf, so pretty vulnerable to melee. Morale 3+ and a single wound. These are kind of like Predators. I don't know if I'd ever take them, except their gun is pretty great. The lightning locks are just kind of defensive, so they've got point defense, 12-inch range, 2 shots, 5s, -1, but the Karachnos mortar battery, 30-inch range, 2 dice, 4+, -1, front arc, barrage, and ignore cover. So it's a way to get like auxiliary and stuff out of buildings. And then shock rams, which are Wrecker 2 melee weapons. They're only 40 points. I mean, they're neat. They're one of those things, because their save isn't great, like they have a 3+ save and 1 single wound, they can get shredded by like AT weapons. And then the Krios Battle Tank Squadron. So this is the one that we said is like the Trios's kind of like chassis. This in the Venator. 100 points for 2 of them. 8-inch move, 3+ save, no calf again, 3+ morale and a single wound. They have a lightning cannon and a rad scourger. So the lightning cannon is 22-inch range. 2 dice 5s, -2 and front arc. And the rad scourger is 16-inch range. 2 dice 4+, -2, front arc, ignores cover and light AT. And your sponsons are going to be point defense Caligars, so they get death brigade and accurate, which is cool. They're only a single shot, but 4+. It's actually pretty good at hitting with accurate, and also death brigade for the extra damage. Can have up to 6 extra ones. So the detachment is 3. They can go to 9 for 270 points total. The Venator's got the Pulsar Fusel, just 12-inch range, 1 dice, 3+, -3 anti-tank. So like the super tank killer. But they're cheaper for some reason. And 9 of them is only 220 points. And then transports these, the Trios's get 4 of these in the box set. Now they each carry 4 stands though. So easily enough, I think you've got 16 total, and you get 18 stands of infantry you'd probably want. I mean, you get 10 ad secularis, and then the Myrmidon Secutors and the Myrmidon Destructors, you probably want to put them as well, because the robots can kind of handle themselves with the better armor. So I'd probably put unless the Tech Thralls are just standing in a building somewhere after they leave your deployment zone. They're 15 points each, 3+ save, 1 wound, morale 3+, 8-inch move, Volkite Calivers, and a Twin Link Mauler bolt cannon. So they get some light AT, 12-inch range, and yeah, they're large transports. And then the Dark Mechanicum army list. So this is the same thing. The Archmage is Prime, Prime and Abeyant, Ad Secularis, Tech Thrall Covenant, Thalix Cohort, Tech Priest Auxilia, Myrmidon Secutors, Myrmidon Destructors, Ursilax Cohort, Caractacus Assault Tanks, Krios Battle Tanks, and Trios Armored Conveyors are exactly the same. They, however, get some different special rules. They get Construct Shields, and they can also take Knights and Titans the same way. Construct Shields count as Void Shields following the rules presented in the Legions Imperialis rulebook. They cannot be reignited though, and are not rolled for in the end phase. When their level is reduced, it cannot be increased. When 1 or more hits are scored against a detachment which contains 1 or more models with an active Construct Shield, hits are first allocated to those, and every time a hit is allocated, reduce the Construct Shield level by 1, then discard the hit. Once it goes to 0, the model's shields collapse and are no longer active. Any remaining hits are allocated to the other eligible models in the active Construct Shields. Unlike Void Shields, hit with an AP of 0 can be assigned to Construct Shields if the weapon that caused them has the light AT or anti-tank trait. So they're like worse Void Shields, basically. And then Networked Anima. Detachments with the Networked Anima special rule can gain additional benefits when within 8 inches of a Neosphere Controller special rule that is part of the same formation. These rules can be found in respective formation. So now they get Terror Protocols. So these guys are HQ Vanguard or 2 Air Axes, and then expanded detachments Core, Vanguard, Warhound, Packer, Knight. They have Command Urgency. When a detachment with the Networked Anima special rule is activated during the movement phase, all models with increased their movement characteristics by 2 inches. If detachments within 6 inches of the model with the Neosphere Controller special rule, the effect lasts until the end of the round. And I really like these because these are like this is basically the result of the scrap code getting into the Neosphere, is that only the Dark Mechanicum now have access to the Neosphere because it's haunted. So they don't have enough leeches and cocaine to get the demons out. And that means that the cool networked stuff is only available to the evil side of the army list. So even though the Taghmata have access to everything initially, the Dark Mechanicum have access to all of the same stuff, plus the Neosphere stuff, because they keep it after the Civil War. When a detachment with the Networked Anima special rule is activated within the movement phase, all models within it increase their movement characteristic by 2 inches. If the detachment's within 6 of a model with the Neosphere Controller special rule, this effect lasts until the end of the round. Purge Protocol, so it's heavy armor, 2 light armors, and then expanded Battle Tank, HQ, heavy armor ×2, or light armor ×2 and a Titan. They have Command Exterminate. Hit scored by a model with the Neosphere Controller special rule from this formation, mark the target attachment until the end of the round. Models from this formation with the Networked Anima special rule can reroll hit rolls of 1 when firing upon a marked attachment. So basically you can like tag someone to make them easier to hit. And then Swarm Protocol, 3 Vanguards, an expanded 3 Vanguards, 2 light armors, and a Knight. Any Harpack Swarmer Scout Host selected for the compulsory slots can be upgraded to Controller Host for 15 points, and they gain Neosphere Controller and Invulnerable Save 6+. And then Command Overwhelm. Harpex Swarmer Scout Host detachments from this formation gain the Infiltrate special rule. All detachments in this formation with the Networked Anima special rule count their scale as 1 higher for determining enemy detachments are engaged or pinned while within 8. So they are good at pinning you down, basically, and keep you from breaking off. And then Dark Tagma Subcovenant. So this is the evil version of your Tech Thralls. So you get Ad Secularis Tech Thrall Covenant, same models as in this box set. HQs and 2 supports are your compulsories. And then expanded, you can take an HQ, a core, support, vanguard, battle tank, light armor, and transport. You might have noticed that the not copied over here, you can still take the Tech Thrall, so you don't have to take the Ad Secularis Tech Thrall. The Tech Thralls over here would be able to be the basic ones too if you wanted. Battle tanks and heavy armor, Titan or 2 Night Banners. This is like the evil version of the Tech Thrall Covenant from the Taghmata list. And you can take the Triarch's Armored Conveyors as dedicated transports, just like them. All right, so let's take a look at these Dark Mechanicum units. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overall that you're gonna have access to. The first one is a Scintillax Cyclops Nuospheric Stalker Network. Now again, none of these models are in this box set. Scintillaxes have 7-inch movement, 3+ save, CAF +3, and 2 wounds. They have las cutters and exoplanar cannons or storm lasers. I like exoplanar cannon because that's a nice way of saying warp gun. It shoots warp at you. So you pick one of those two. The las cutters have 4-inch range, 1 die, 3+, -3, anti-tank and tank buster, or the exoplanar cannons, 10-inch range, 2 shots, 4+, -1, light, ignore cover, and shred. And then your storm lasers a 15-inch range, 3 dice, 5+, -1. And it's light AT, rapid fire, and shield bane. They have 1 construct shield, Noosphere controller, nimble, and traitor. You start with 1, and you can have up to 4 for 190 points extra, so 265 points is a single HQ. Core attachments, Arax Butcher Stalker cohorts, the single one for 45 points, and they're a vehicle. They've got 8-inch move, 4+ save, CAF +6, again, insane CAF and 2 wounds. And an Arax Meltagun or Stalker Maxima Bolters or Arax Las Cutters. So one of the 2 off weapons, and then the Arax Meltagun, which is a Meltagun. They are Construct Shield 1, Networked Anima, Nimble, and Traitor. So they have Networked Anima, not Noosphere Controller. They're not a leader type like the Cyclopses are. And again, have to be Traitors. Harpex Swarmer Scout Hosts, 4 stands of them, and they have exoplanar repeaters. So again, warp rifles, 10-inch range, 1 die, 5+, no AP, light, and shred. And they have repeaters or Harpex Las Cutters, 7-inch move, 6+ save, +1 CAF, and morale 4. So these are like the basic like melee dudes with jump packs. Networked Anima and Traitor. They're kind of, they're basically like human-sized. Like swarm of like they're kind of smaller than the Ursarax. Like they're like man-sized melee dudes. And then light armor detachment, your Tenebrax Archer Battlestalker cohort, 8-inch move, 4+ save, CAF +1, and 2 wounds. Now it's a lot tougher. Single one is 35 points though. And they've got exoplanar cannons or Stalker Maximum Bolters or Volkite Culverins. And the exoplanar cannon's 10-inch range. Again, 2 shots, 4+, -1, light, ignores cover, and shred. The other stuff is the same as previous models. And you can again have up to 4 of them for an extra 90 points. So they're Networked Anima and also Nimble and Traitor. And then finally, your heavy detachment, Cerberos Overlord Heavy Stalkers. 2 detachment size, you get 2 stands for 175 points. These guys are almost knights. They got 7-inch move, 2+ save, CAF +3, and 2 wounds each. They've got bombards or warp bombard or storm laser array, and a Cerberos las cutter or radiation engine. The exoplanar bombard's a 15-inch range, 3 dice, 4+ -1, arc front, bypass, ignore cover, and shred. Or the storm laser array, same range, but 5 dice, 4+ -1, light AT, rapid fire, and shield bane. So great for taking down Titans. Cerberos las cutters are like one of their up-close guns. 4-inch range, 1 shot, 2+ -3, anti-tank, bunker buster, engine killer, and run. These guys are like little Titan hunters. And a radiation engine, which is the fun word to say, 10-inch range. It is 3 shots on 4s, -3, ignore cover, and light AT. And you can have up to 4 of these in a squadron for 405 points. Construct Shields 2, Networked Anima, Nimble, and Traitor. And these are these little like evil bugs. So this is where you can see the Dark Mechanicum army stuff. This is the stuff that isn't in this box set. So this is a 3,000 point list, right? And it's a maniple basically, because all of these guys are going to have access to, because of this formation here, the Swarm Protocol. So you could take, what is it, Vanguards, and these are Vanguard, Light Armor, Core, HQ. So 3 of these, 3 units of the, what is it, not the Core one, the second one, the Vanguard one, the Harpex Swarmer Scout Hosts, which is these guys down here. So 3 of them, right? So that's what, they're 4 per, so 4, 8. And then you'd be able to take a Titan on top of it, or a Knight unit on top of that. And then the bigger ones up here, all their weird sort of like squid heads and stuff. They have a very, it's funny, they have a very War Machine look to them, which I think is very funny. So yeah, there's your Butcher, there's your Archer, these are the Harpax, these are the Scintillax, and these are the Cerberos. So this is the stuff that isn't out yet. I'm hoping they get a box kind of like this one that opens up this half of the army list and allows for additional stuff. Because this Mechanicum stuff is either side, right? Like everybody can use everything over here. But the Dark Mechanicum gets access to the weirded extra stuff. And then we get our weapon profile sheet, and that's it. The Rise of the Dark Mechanicum. So, I gotta say, I'm impressed by a couple things. One, I'm really impressed that this book allows, after some time out now, us to play full Titan armies, because the origins of epic scale Warhammer 40,000 is Titans, right? The game started as Adeptus Titanicus. Space Marine was an infantry expansion for it. Space Marine created the Horus Heresy. There was no Horus Heresy before Space Marine. In fact, some of the names of some of your favorite characters from the Horus Heresy novels come from the flavor text of the Space Marine infantry supplement for Titanicus. So we're kind of coming full circle here and doing, I think, our due diligence to add those big robots back in and make the game have some big, impressive centerpieces in it. I love the way they handled the Titan Legion list and the Knight Banner list to make it so that they just have a really hard time scoring victory points. They just flatten the world. They don't do minor missions, right? They don't do like the technical stuff. They just destroy planets. That's what their job is. It's both flavorful and it adds a little bit of balance to the game where you got to work harder if you're taking these power pieces to actually like win. And then I think that this box format is just way better than the previous box formats. Give me an army in a box. A 1,250 point army I can use for either side of this book that allows me to unlock my existing collection of even just the stuff that came in the previous starter set. Let me use the Warhound Titans with this. Adds a ton to like the value of this box right here. I hope they do something like this for the Dark Mechanicum and give us a bundle box of all this stuff together. It's just a better way of handling it, and it means that I mean, I'm sure they'll parse this stuff out eventually, but again, this is the old way of doing things. If you got army boxes for Epic back in the day, it was just a box of like a million little Epic guys, and I just like that release format. I like a tidy release format from the point of view even of just like a person trying to stock this. Make one of these for the Marines, please. Make something exactly like this for Christmas, the same type. Make one of these for Marines, bring back the Titan Battle Group. I think actually I saw they are bringing back the Titan Battle Group box set for Axiom already, which is great. And just let us play the game more easily. Cards, right? Cardboard Plunder. And the book itself is the same usual fantastic quality that come to expect from the Forge World team, because if you liked Games Workshop in the 90s and early 2000s, that's who the Forge World team is, right? It's all those guys still at Games Workshop. If you like your game designers to be wearing comfortable shoes these days and only drinking light beer, then not to shout out to you guys, but you know, we're of the same generation. I think that this is probably the studio for you. So thanks for workshopping this up long. If you guys for watching, we'll see you for more GMG reviews today. Till then, I'm Ash. Happy gaming.